Okay, so the Gemara in Chav Chesem and Beis by the two dots. We finished the sugya by sugya about Simchas Yantif and Tara Beregel, Gabe Noshim, that whole issue with the Arusa in the last Gemara. Now we're on to the next Gemara. So we're really coming towards the end of the sugya of Krovim. So the Gemara quotes a Brisa. Tana Rabbanan Chorgo Levado. The Brisa says that you are only puzzled to your stepson, but it doesn't follow the nature of the Mishnah that said that by all the Krovim, it was not only them, but it was Bneihem v'chasneihem, their son-in-laws and their sons. So by your stepson, it's just strictly the stepson, and it doesn't extend outside to his family. Rabbi Yossi Omer Giso. Rabbi Yossi says Giso. What did that mean? Giso what? His brother-in-law. What does that mean? So let's continue. V'tanya idach giso levado. So the Brisa says, the other Brisa says, no. When Rabbi Yossi was saying chargo levado, but giso levado, meaning my brother-in-law, I'm not puzzle to his son or to his son-in-law. Just my gis. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Chargo my kamer ilem ahach kamer Chargo levado v'hu adin legiso v'as Rabbi Yossi lememer giso levado v'hu adin lechargo elam asizin dektani giso hu b'no v'chasam mani lo Rabbi Yehuda v'lo Rabbi Yossi. So now the Gemara just goes on to clarify for the next few lines what was the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Did he only hold giso levado? Did he also hold Chargo levado? What did each one hold? So I want to just mention one thing about this Gemara. It's really not. It's a really very fundamental Gemara for the following idea. So we have this idea that Rabbi Yossi pasoled giso levado. Some said there's some sort of psul that's levado, that doesn't follow like the rest of the psulim of the Mishnah that had heim v'bneihem v'chasneihem, that their sons and their son-in-laws are also pasul. So Rabbi Yossi suggested that it's giso. So if you look at Tosfos in the top, giso levado, and Rashi says the same thing. Giso levado and chargo levado, it says Tosfos, cannot be read with a simple understanding that they're exactly parallel. It can't be. Why? Einam shavim. The chargo levado lemuute bno vichasno. Because when it comes to my stepson, so when I say the word levado, I mean absolutely levado. I am puzzled to my stepson, and I am not puzzled to his child or to his son-in-law. Both. However, says Tosfos, the giso levado, when it comes to my brother-in-law, that can't be mamish levado the same way chargo levado was levado. Says Tosfos, lo lemute bno, it can't be to exclude bno. Why? The habraisa Rabbi Yossi al machashiva bal achosimo v'hainu ben giso. It can't be, because then that's going to be against the Mishnah that said, what? Baal achos imo is pasul. Baal achos imo is the bno of Giso. So therefore, it has to be only la'afuke chasno. So the question is, what's the rationale? Why would one distinguish? If you're going to say there's a concept of levado, why are you saying it doesn't extend to chasno, but it does extend to bno? So that's what I wanted to highlight. I really didn't want to get into the family tree again. We spent enough time in the family tree. But there's one thing I want to close with the family trees, which is mamish going to affect Shulchan Aruch. There's a big difference. Okay? My brother-in-law, his son, and my brother-in-law, his son-in-law, are different. Because my brother-in-law, his son-in-law, is a Rishon B'Sheni with two Balke Ishtos, with two marriages. This is the source that in Shulchan Aruch, some Rishonim say that you don't say two Balke Ishtos on a Rishon B'Sheni. If you remember back when we started, we said for a Rishon B'Rishon, everyone agrees you say two Balke Ishtos. That's what the Gemara says, Balke Ishto, Ishto Kegufo, that you say two Balke Ishtos. By a Sheni B'Sheni, everyone says you don't say two Balke Ishtos. By a Rishon B'Sheni, That's this Nekudas HaMachloikis. That's this Taisus. Maybe, perhaps, we would distinguish between Chasno versus Bno, and perhaps this is the source to not say two Balki Ishtos when it comes to Rishon B'Sheni specifically, and that is 2 days in Shulchan Aruch, which would have nafkaminas lahalacha about any of the Rishon B'Sheni relationships when you have husbands involved in that situation. So that was just what I wanted to bring out from that Gemara, and now I want to go weiter. So Rabbi Yossi introduced to us this concept of Giso being Pasal and Giso being Levado. We're going to skip a little Gemara, because the Gemara is just analyzing the opinions of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. And then the Gemara quotes a fascinating story. Hahi matnasa. There was a matana, a shtar matana. A person wanted to gift his friend a gift. Dahava chasima alei trei gise. I'm sorry. The first word on the line is Yossi. It's 12 lines. Oh, good to have you back. Hahu matnasa dahavi chasima Allah. We've been looking for the place for a long time. Dahavi chasima Allah trei gise. There were 2 geese and 2 brother-in-laws that were signing on a shtar. Savar Rav Yosef lachshure. Rav Yosef thought maybe it's kosher. Damar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel halacha k'Rav Yossi. Because Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel says halacha k'Rav Yossi. Amar le Abaye said, Mimayder Rav Yossi de masdisin de machsher begiso, dilma Rav Yossi de braisa de pasal begiso. Why do you think, because Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel says that giso, that we halacha is like Rav Yossi, the Gemara says there's a stira in what Rav Yossi holds, and maybe it means halachas like Rabbi Yossi in the Brisa that invalidated a brother-in-law, that said, according to Rabbi Yossi, a giso is pasul, as opposed to the Mishnah that presented Rabbi Yossi shita that chargo is pasul and not giso would be kosher. So, meaning again, it's all a question on what did Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel say and mean when he said halachas like Rabbi Yossi. Was that to be machshir gis, or was that to pasal a gis? Nafkamina, what's with this shtar matana? What's with this gift that 2 brother-in-laws are pasal on it? Lo salkadaitach. The Amar Shmuel kagoin ana u pinchas dahavinon achi v'gisi. Aval gisi de alma shaper dam. So why? Why didn't he think that a gis was pasul? Because Shmuel made a statement. What did Shmuel say? Shmuel said, me and Pinchas, fascinating idea, happens to be Shmuel was married, him and his brother were married to 2 sisters. Okay, so apparently Shmuel didn't hold of this cherem of Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, that 2 brothers should have married 2 sisters. A lot of people, some people, I know a few people that do it, that did it. Austin, the Austin family. I was once at in L.A., and I was at a Shalom Zacher, and it was awkward because one of them didn't work out. So then it gets complicated because you still have the family. So it might not necessarily be the smartest idea, but you see it's mutter in the Gemara for 2 brothers to marry 2 sisters. So what did Shmuel say? Shmuel says, Anu u Pinchas achi are what? Lo said Shmuel Anu Pinchas dava achi u gisi. The implication the Gemara is saying is, but if you're just gisi, if it was just my brother-in-law who wasn't my brother, then we would have been kosher. So that's why I'm assuming that Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, when he said what? Halachas like Rabbi Yossi, it meant that gisim are kosher. Says the Gemara, no. V'dilma kagoin anu u Pinchas mishum de giso kamar. No, maybe Shmuel, you misunderstood Shmuel's statement. It wasn't because they were both achim, but he was saying it, I am pasul with Pinchas because he's my gis, because he's my brother-in-law, and brother-in-law pasels. So the Gemara says, Amar le zil kanya be'edei mesira. So the Gemara says, maybe you're right. So therefore, let's not use the edim that are signing on the shtar, but rather, what are we going to do? We're going to use edei mesira. We're going to use witnesses that are going to witness the action of the Mesira of the Mesira the Shtar. We're not going to use the Eidim that are signed on the Shtar because those are potentially problematic because they might be puzzled because they're brother-in-laws. Right? So we have, basically the Gemara says, we have alternative. We're going to get physical Eidim that are going to watch the Mesiras Hashtar. Rab Lazar, like Rab Lazar. What's the Gemara alluding to? So that's what the bulk of I want to talk about in Shir today.
That's a very weird concept.
That what?
Saying the Shtar, maybe no good, but because I have witnesses that they gave that Shtar, that's okay.
Excellent.
The Shtar itself has no value.
Excellent. This is mamish what the Shir is about. What is going on in this Gemara? So there is something that we need a little background, which is probably the most fundamental machlokes in Maseches Gittin. There is a major machlokes running through the entire Maseches Gittin, and really, Shas, between Reb Lazar and Reb Meir. How does a shtar work? How does this document now create an effective kinyan and a transfer of ownership through the shtar? So Reb Lazar and Reb Meir had a major debate about this. Reb Lazar holds, as long as the shtar is passed in front of Eidim, Eidei Mesira Karsi. Therefore, says Reb Lazar, Karsi, what's Karsi mean? Chaf Reish Saf Yud. Kares. It's talking about a get. Creases. Get creases. So what is Kares? Eidei Mesira are Kares. If you have a piece of paper and it's not in front of any Eidei Mesira, says Reb Lazar, you can use that, I'm quoting the Lashon of the Gemara, you could use that as a pkak for your tzluchas, you could use it as a cap for your bottle. It's garnished, it's worthless, it's not worth anything. What gives a shtar, a toikef, to now be karsi is the Eidei Mesira. That's Reb Lazar. Reb Lazar holds Eidei Mesira karsi. Reb Meir holds Eidei Chasima karsi. Reb Meir is of the opinion, no, that the signers on the shtar are what creates the get creases. So therefore, Reb Meir says, when you're going to find out and get the right Eidim, you have to make sure that the Eidim that sign are kosher Eidim and that are going to create the get and the creases. So now, according to what I'm presenting right now, it sounds like, right? It sounds like what Abe's saying, 100%. So what, you're allowed to do whatever you want in the actual physical content of the document. Oh, excellent. Your mamish mechavin to Gemara after Gemara after Gemara. Excellent. So the Gemara says, sounds like the Gemara is suggesting, go get Eidim Mesira, and even though you have puzzle Eidim on the shtar, the Gemara says it's good, because we're going to follow Reb Lazar, Eidim Mesira Karsi. Says the Gemara, not so fast. Says the Gemara, slow down. Says the Gemara, V'ha Omer Rabbi Abba, Moide Reb Lazar b'mezuyif mitocha. Says the Gemara, even Reb Lazar agrees that if you messed up the shtar, you're right. Reb Lazar holds Eidei Mesira Karsi, and therefore I don't need Eidei Chasima. But if you mamish put pasala Eidim on the shtar, says Reb Abba, even Reb Lazar, Moide Reb Lazar b'mezuyif mitocha. If you mamish pasaled it up, so then you're going to pasal Amalei Zilo Shavkila de Suvnalach, and he says, you see, I'm not able to use this at all, and we can't make the kinyan with the shtar. End of Gemara. So that's what the Gemara says. Moide Reb Lazar b'mezuyif mitocha.
The same as invalid?
Yeah, mezuyif mitocha. Moide Reb Lazar, it's invalid. It's mezuyif mitocha.
No, I'm saying the word mezuyif.
Mezuyif means anything that's forged, falsified, or puzzle. Yeah, you're right. It's It's a misnomer because it sounds like a trick. It sounds like a forge, but it's lav dafka a forge. It's anything that doesn't work to testify about the halachic.
Why don't they use pasul?
You're saying moder. It should be moder blazer bepasal mitocha.
Why is it using that specific word? Because after that, it actually says pasul.
Look at Rashi. Yeah, but he's saying, but it's any psul chora. So Rashi says, "B'mezuyif mitocha shechasmu bo." The bottom Rashi, shechasmu bo edim psulim. Shu pasal the b'may kanale b'hayshtar chispa ba'almahu. This shtar is nothing. So it doesn't answer your question.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know why they didn't use your language. According to you're right. It probably would have been a better language. Okay. Meaning maybe the Gemara had two shilas.
They are brothers. You can't ignore the fact.
Right. So the shiloh is so it happens to be there were two psulim running here. So Shmuel says, me and Pinchas are puzzle. So you and Pinchas actually carry two psulim. So originally the Gemara said, no?
No, obviously, he's not talking about his case. That's the understanding, because his case is brothers. He's saying, no, like me and my brother-in-law. He's saying...
Yeah, but he's talking about Pinchas.
He's talking about his brother.
He's talking about his brother.
No, because then they would be puzzled, because he's a brother. He's saying, like, me and my brother, who are brothers-in-law puzzle in general. That's what he's aiming at.
But he talked about Pinchas.
He's using that as an example. It's obviously not the fact.
Right, but that's what he's asking. So how do you bring a raya from here that Giso is puzzle if they also carry the psul of Ach?
Yeah, so he's excluding that. Obviously, he's excluding that.
Well, why should he have to give an example of himself?
Yeah, right. It's a bad example. It's a bad example. Ein Hanami is a bad example. If I would have been there, I would have said that there's no raya from such a. But the Gemara had two possibilities of what he meant. So the Gemara says you have to be machmir. It's fascinating that that's the one example that the Gemara comes up to that Shmuel said, and he happened to be married to his sister. So a lot of hashkacha over here. So okay, so that's the story over here. So the question is as follows. The concept of mezuyif mitocho is something that's brought up in the concept of Gittin, that there was a takana, mipnei tikuna olam. Mipnei tikuna olam, the Gemara in Gittin says, if you look on the Gemara that you have on the handouts, this is Daf Daled in Gittin. So this is cut off. The Gemara was saying that Reb Lazar was made that mipnei tikuna olam, there was a special takana that you should have a chasima on the shtar. Meaning, even though Reb Lazar holds that Eidei Mesira Karsi, and technically I really don't need Eidei Chasima at all, but then came along Reb Lazar and said, Mipnei Tikuna Olam, there should be a takana that Eidim should sign on the document. Okay? Then the Gemara goes on to say that when you have those Eidim, you go a few lines down, again, quoting our Gemara, the same idea. So now the question is, what is the nature of that takana? Why did they make that takana? So Abe mentioned something that these Eidei Mesira are not necessarily going to be around forever, and what's going to be after they pass on, or after they're no longer around, and we still need a proof and we still need Eidim that this woman got divorced. Okay? So that is the opinion of Tosfos. Tosfos is of the opinion, is a famous Tosfos on Daf Daled Amud Aleph in Maseches Gittin. Dibra Maschel. No, I didn't say that. Let's see. You're jumping 1 second. I didn't say that. So listen to what Tosfos says. Dibra Maschel de Kaima in the wide lines. Tosfos is saying the Gemara says we paskin like Reb Lazar, which by the way, this Gemara, our Gemara in Sanhedrin, is also a raya that we paskin like Reb Lazar, because we're all handling Reb Lazar and we hold Eidei Mesira Karsi. Then the Gemara says va'oid, right? Tosfos brings a raya in the third line. Va'oid perak zeborg amemanatanta dave chasimola tregisi kamer of Yosef zilakne be'Eidei Mesira Reb Lazar. Uparach le'Abaye va'amar Abba moder Reb Lazar mezuyif mitoch shu pasel. Mashad Rav Yosef Abaye du Basra. You see, all the Amoraim, the later Amoraim, were all assuming like who? They were all assuming Reb Lazar. Uperkanami in our Gemara also in Gittin Amar Rabbi Abba Shtar Persa de Masri Nila Ba'ape Sadi Yisrael Magbina Bebibnei Chayr Lefichach Tzar Lizar Sheyehei Eidei Mesira B'Shas Nesinas Haget De Inu Karsi The Ileka Sham Eidei Mesira Eina Megureshes. Let's read that line again. Very important line. Ulefichach Tzarech Lizar sheyehu ede mesira b'shas nesinas haget. Make sure at the time the get is delivered that the ede mesira will be there. Why, says Tosfos? Because I just proved to you from Sanhedrin Chav Chesem at Beis. We paskin like Reb Lazar. If you paskin like Reb Lazar, then what? Then you need ede mesira, and without ede mesira, the get is worthless. Ede mesira karsi. The inu karsi, they are the one that create the get. The leka sham ede mesiri, eina migureshes. Afal gav de ika ede mechisima. Even though Rabbi Isai, Rabbi Lazar was moideh that they made a takana that edim should sign on the document, says Tosfos, don't think that now I can be lenient and not have edim there at the time of the Nesinas Hashtar. V'lo mahani Eidei Chasima, all the Eidei Chasima help for, listen, is She'im Yamusu Eidei Mesira, that if the Eidei Mesira pass on, O Yelchu Lahem LeMedinas Hayam, or they're going to be in another country, Shetinose Ayidei Eidei Chasima. So now, what happens? She can use this shtar as a proof that what? There was once a Karsi. How was there once a Karsi? We made a takana that Edom should sign to now testify as a proof in a document that there were once Eidei Mesira standing here at the time of the get.
That only works if they sign at the time of the receiver.
Exactly. The mistama, says Tosfos, fascinating words. The mistama behechsher nase. Because we could assume that if Edom are signing, then what they're signing on was something that was done appropriately, which means, according to halacha, that we paskin like Reb Lazar, that Edom is Sira Karsi, was that there were Edom that were standing there at the Shas Nesinas Haget.
Who did they say that?
So if the woman has two Edom and they're shady, whatever, and they signed it, there was never any Mesira, but they're doing her a favor, how do you never know that there was ever a Mesira?
Right. You have to make sure that there are Rabbanim involved that make sure that everything's done correctly.
Signing as well, that's what gives it, validity that there was oversight.
Tosfos assumes that there's a chazaka that when Edom sign a shtar, that, or at least Rabbi Lazar's takana was that you could assume that meant that everything was done appropriately. Just like we assume that the get was put into her hand, and just like we assume that the husband was the one who commanded to write the get, and that there wasn't any shady business in terms of that, many different criteria throughout Maseches Gittin that are details that need to be in order for the get to be kosher, one of them being that Edom were there b'shas Mesira. Let me just finish.
Where do you get that the fact that that Chatima has to be the exact same time of the Mesira?
Because otherwise, what are they testifying on?
The actual Mesira?
That there's testifying, they're making a shtar raya that everything was kosher.
They signed before.
Maybe they signed before and
They
someone
signed
else.
before them.
They signed before and then,
Maybe who said it have to be in the same place at the same time?
but what are they testifying? There's no
That
Gerushin.
The get is actually
Is
nimsa.
ready,
Nimsa, it's actually being delivered.
but the get being nimsar is meaningless. It's meaningless.
Maybe over a month.
I could pass you papers from today until tomorrow. A husband and wife, we can go home and we could pass papers from today until tomorrow. Without Edom, it's garnish.
So those two Eden Mesira
Are what's creating the get.
but are they looking at the day Chatima that they are?
No, the Eidei Chasima are looking at the Eidei Mesira.
But who is testifying that the day Chatima are there, and they're doing the actual Chatima? Because you just said you can go and
The
bring.
Eidei Chasima Stein, we know that they were there, right? Their signatures are there. They signed in a situation where they saw Eidim present. And they knew that the document would be...
Those needs to be two separate sets of Edim.
Yeah, right. No, you could probably have the same group.
10 years later,
You could probably have the
show
same
the
group.
shtar to somebody, and there's two signatures on
Right.
it. We don't know that they signed at the time of the scene. We just know there's two signatures on it.
Right. So what Tosfos is saying, we
Rav-
know...
Rav is also signing
Right.
that he witnessed
So
it.
Tosfos is saying that's the power of this word. Tosfos is saying what we know from those signatures, what the takana was according to Reb Lazar of those signatures was mistama hakol behechsher nase. What does that mean? Mistama hakol behechsher nase means there were probably Eid Mesira there, because if there were no Eid Mesira there, says Tosfos, there is no hechsher haget. It's not kosher. You need Eid Mesira. We pass like Reb Lazar. The Gemara says, according to Reb Lazar, they made a takana to have Eidei Chasima. Why did they make that takana? Says Tosfos, Lo tzricha el Reb Elazar Damar Edim Mesiras Karsi Takinu Rabbanan Edi Chasima the Zimnin the Maisi Sadeh. Because sometimes what? The Edom are not going to be around to ask it to them, so we're going to have to rely on what? Some other proof. How do we have proof that this was done appropriately? We now make a Shtar Raya, a proof in the Shtar that everything was done appropriately.
It's kind of, isn't it assuming that any two guys who sign, no two guys anywhere in the world are ever going to sign unless the two Eidim Masir are there? We don't actually know that every possible aid would behave that way. Two guys happen to owe her money. She dissolves the debt, just sign the Shtar, and then I'll...
You're saying there are...
Right, they're shady guys.
They're shady guys, that's true.
And there's no Eidim Masir there. There's no way for the Shtar to know that the Eidim Masir are actually there when they sign.
But if we're worried about...
If there's a rug who's
One second, if we're worried about shady guys, so we should also be worried. We should also be worried that there were never Eidim Masira there to begin with. There could be a shady
I'm
husband.
saying she created the Shtar, she got two friends to sign it, there was never any...
I'm saying we're no worse off than to begin with. Meaning maybe she never had. Maybe the whole get. Maybe that whole get never involved Eidim.
Isn't it just usually done in front of the base?
No, you don't need a
It's
minister,
not chatchila. If people died, Aiden died, the girl wants to get remarried, you have to rely on something.
right?
Why wouldn't you, as part of the takana, why wouldn't they say that the Aiden have to sign b'fanenu nimsa get me'anyankel to shena brocha?
I think that's what Eidei Chasima is. I think that's implied.
Everyone's what's bothering everybody is you have a get and it has just two signatures on the bottom. No one's supposed. What does that tell you? But if it said specifically they had to sign to a statement, the fanenu nimsa, then that would take care of the whole thing. And was that the takana?
I think so. I think that's what Taisus means. That's what compels Taisus to say the mistama akol be'achshanasa. Rabbi Elazar's takana was that when Edom are signing on a shtar, they're now saying this story that we saw this happening, and that's what we're signing on.
If you're signing to that, then you don't even need mistama be'achshanasa. If we're relying on their signatures, I would have thought
They're signing before it's being given over.
Yeah.
So then they're not signing to say.
No, but they're signing in advance of knowing that this is going to be done with everything.
They could drop that at that moment.
That's true. I think there's an assumption that that everything at this time that is going to be in the appropriate way. You're right. It's a split second that probably is going to be a potential suffix.
And we more or less like, there's a Rav from the RCA who's signing that he witnessed that the Eidim Masir...
A Rav from RCA is garnished.
Somebody who's recognized...
Even the Aguda is garnished. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's not even
that,
like any of the...
yeah, no, it's Adis is the only thing that helps. It's like, I'll tell you, it's like, it's like my Talmudim say, the biggest kibbut at the chasana is the Masadi Kedushin. It's a load of garbage. The Masadi Kedushin is garnished. If you want to actually talk la'alacha, what's necessary, you don't even need a Masadi Kedushin. You need Eidim. Eidim is the thing that makes it. So in America, we assume guy's a microphone and he has the ability to speak, and that's the covet, and he can take as long as he wants. So that's what the shear of covet is. But that's not really what's karsi. That's not really what creates it. Even if you had a rav there, you had a chush of a guy. If he doesn't have a shame aid, it doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just another way of resurrecting Eidei Chasima by teaching that Eidei Chasima really means the fanenu nimsa.
So that's a different part. Tosfos could have argued and explained this whole sugya totally differently, which is what you said before, and now you're saying right now. Rabbi Elazar said that there was a takana, that the Eidim should sign. Why? Explains Taisus, because of what Abe said before, because you might have a difficult situation. You're never going to have the Eidim that you could approach, that you could ask. So therefore, we want to have a proof. We want to have a raya that this woman actually got divorced. Comes along the Ram and the Rif, and the Ram and the Rif say, no. You misunderstood the entire machlekes Reb Elazar and Reb Meir. Reb Elazar and Meir argue if Eidei Masira, says the Rif on Daf Peivav in Maseches Gittin, not Eidei Masira versus Eidei Chasima, but Rabbi Elazar was of the opinion, Af Eidei Masira Karsi. You have another avenue of creating a krisas haget, of shafing the kinyan, of creating a chalois, either through the physical witnesses that are there, or through what? The classic route of Eidei Chasima. Rab Lazar is not being machmir against Rabbi Meir. He's maskim to Rabbi Meir that Eidei Chasima work, but what? He says also Eidei Mesira work. Or, there's different nuschos amongst the poskim, the achronim, the ktsos understands it like this, that through the Eidim that are chasumim on the shtar, they can act as Eidei Mesira, as if that it's like they're standing there, like the classic Eidei Mesira that Reb Lazar would need. But what's coming out fundamentally, according to the Rambam and the Rif, is what? A total different pshat than Tosfos. It's not that what? There's a machloikis min akotza el akotza. How does a shtar work? Is it only Eidei Chasima or is it only Eidei Mesira? And never shall the two meet? Comes along the Rif and says, no. Af Eidei Mesira Karsi, you have two avenues. If you don't have Eidei Chasima, you can have the physical Eidei Mesira, but even through the Eidei Chasima, I could create a Krisas Haget, either that is Eidei Mesira through the Chasima, or I agree to Rabbi Meir through that avenue of Eidei Chasima as well. Okay? That is a machloikis. Im Kain, now we understand the takana, according to the Ram and the Rif, much more fundamentally. It wasn't just like Taisus says, sometimes you might have a situation that what? You're not going to have an ability to prove whether or not this woman was Mugureshes. No. It was a takana that what? From the Eidei Chasima alone we have a krisis. That could actually create and act as Eidei Mesira. No matter what, those are the Eidim that actually have the ability to create this situation. Okay? If that's the case, Moider Rab Lazar b'mezuyaf mitocho, our Gemara. Rab Lazar says, comes along Rabbi Abba and he says, no, Rab Lazar's Moider, if the shtar itself doesn't look good, if the shtar itself is problematic, has Eidim that sign on it that's problematic, so then what? Then it's possible. What's the rationale for that? According to the Balei Tosfos, the way we understand that is a separate halacha. Yeah, Eidim Mesira Karsi. And Eidim Mesira are really what's giving the potency of this to this shtar. What's giving the effect of this shtar. It's really the Eidim Mesira. So what? There was a new halacha that Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Abba said, B'Shem Rabbi Lazar, but he's not willing to go and rely on the Eidei Mesira if things look bad when it's Bezuyaf Mitoch. But if you hold what? Like the Rambam and the Rif, Molder Rabbi Lazar Bezuyaf Mitoch, no. The reason why it's Bezuyaf Mitoch is because these Eidim are actually giving a tokef to the shtar. And that is Eidim that could actually act as the Eidim that are Karsi. So Memela Avada, it's going to create a psul in this situation. Yeah. Correct. I mean, they made a takana, but you wouldn't, if you didn't have it, Minat Torah, I think there would be a get krisis, yeah. No, but they are. Now, once we added them, so now that those are Eidim that are now part of the process. Because they can act as Eidim, according to Rabbi Lazar. It's not a takana that we have a backup of a shtar raya. It's now, according to the Rif, it's now you used Eidei Chasima that work.
I'm saying, according to the Rif, once you add Eidei Chasima,
so now you passed. So Mezuyif Mitocho is now Lechora is now a fundamental psul. Because now some of your Eidim are psul. So now it's an option now, but in a situation where you have Pasal Eidim, it creates a serious problem.
So Ron and Rif do hold that if the Eidei Chasima
Our Pasal.
doesn't matter, you had Eidei
Right. I mean, everyone holds it. The Gemara says Moder Ablazer Mezuyif Mitocho. The question is, what's the rationale of that? Is that because fundamentally I have something that's powerful, or is it that no, Rabbi Lazar had to give in and that this looks bad, this is bad protocol? That's the way we originally learned it. That Rabbi Lazar only holds of Eidim Mesira Karsi, and why is it that it's Mezuyif Mitocho? Because once they made it, once there's someone that signed that looks bad, this seems to be funny. Also,
If you hold Eidi Chasima,
Reb Meir.
you still need a Masira. I mean, a get which is signed but was never given to the wife is worthless.
You need a Masira, but you don't need Eidim on the Masira.
Right, you don't need, but you need a Masira.
Yeah, you have to.
What's
Yeah,
the proof of the Masira? The only proof they have is the fact that it's in her hands.
right,
Right? And
Right.
not quite just that he
right,
picked it up and
right,
it fell from
right.
his-
Stama Kol Be'echsher Nasa. Right.
Why did you make it that complicated? Why not just have the Eidim Asir be the ones who sign? Why'd you have to have 4 guys?
What happens when they die?
No, I'm saying, so you have to be.
No,
Eidim
no,
and
you
have
No,
the
you
Masira,
could.
the
No,
ones
you.
in the Masira
I'm overcomplicating it. You could have the same Eidim. You
could.
don't need a separate group.
Okay,
Yeah,
they don't have to be separate
it
things.
can be two. Right, it can be two separate, but you could have the same Eidim for both. Yeah,
Shlicha, so that's
Yeah.
why it's not practical always.
yeah. So I just want to point out another Nakuda that Reb Chaim proves from this sugya. We're going to have to run through it quickly, but look at the Rambam in Halacha Beis. Perek Chav Zayin Halacha Beis. Shtar she'edav goyim. You have a shtar that has edim on it that are goyim.
How can it be a goy?
Shemasru aloiva liyada malva, that the loiva gave it in front of the malva. Oyamoicha liyada lekeach b'fnei shnei edim mi Yisrael. Afal pisha eno osi bar kol shalahen ve'en bo kol advarim sheminyano hareze gova bo mibrei shemaninu hareze gova bo mibrei chor. Says the Rambam, you have a shtar alva, what? And what? You have goyim that are signed on it. What? It's kosher.
Yeah, because
It's effective.
It's not a shtar of Isa the Heter.
So we'll get to this. So the Kesef Mishnah has no idea what's going on here. Says what? How? You can't get more mezuyif mitocha than this. I mean, this is goyim. Well, what happened to the Gemara in Sanhedrin? Asked the Kesef Mishnah. Let's skip to the end of the Kesef Mishnah. The Yesh L'Tmoa, the first word on the line is Alayu, the Kesef Mishnah. 9 lines. V'yesh L'Tmoa, Rabbeinu, Lama Lo Chilek Ben Shemus Muvhakim L'She'enu Muvhakim, Tamoder Ablazer Mezuyif Mitocho. Okay, the Gemara has a detail that if you have Goyish names like Chves, Chris, so then we're not worried because obviously you had kosher edim there. But the Ram doesn't say any chilukim about that. It sounds like the Ram is saying any goyim is okay. The ain lomar, and don't tell me the svirule, the loy amrinan ha'achid, that you only say mezuyif bitocho ella begite nashim, that's only a chumrah by get. Why? Says the Kesef the hazeh boirer. Because there's a Gemara, Ahu Matnasa, our Gemara, Shtar Kinyan, Kabi Ahi Matnasa de Chasima Letregisi, Amrina de Meider of Lazar Mezuyif Mitocho. The Gemara applies outside of getting the concept of Mezuyif Mitocho, as the Kesef Mishnah from our Gemara. Vatema Me'arav Amagich Lunis Armazeh, the Efsher Loimer. Says the Kesef Mishnah, perhaps you could say like this: Shesoiver Rabbeinu de Hod Mashma be Gemara de Be'edim Goyim Chashem Mezuyif Mitocho, Hani Mili Begite Noshim. The Gemara says that Mezuyif Mitocho is a problem. The Gemara in Gittin says that's by Goyim, that's only by get. Aval Bishtari Mamon, says the Kesef Mishnah to explain our Gemara, Bishtari Mamon, by Shtar Mamon, to be Yisraelim Krovim, our Gemara, which is what? Yisraelim Ana Upinchas, which is what? 2 Gisim, 2 brother-in-laws. That's mezuyif mitocho. Chashav mezuyif mitocho. Mishum da'asi lechlufe lachshuri below edei mesira, because you're going to come and you're going to mix it up and not going to have kosher edim. Aval be'edei goyim, but if you're going to have edei goyim, says the Kesef Mishnah, that's such a far-fetched psul that's not even, it doesn't even hit the radar and even get into the spectrum of being mezuyif mitocho. It's not even a psul, it's a nothing. A goy on a shtar moment is mamish goy. Mezuyif mitocho, says the Kesef Mishnah, you have to say, was only by shtar matnasa, was only by krovim, not by goyim. Comes along Reb Chaim, and he says a different pshat, based on everything that we've built up until now. Again, Chaim says according to Tosfos, that you hold Eidei Mesira Karsi and only Eidei Mesira Karsi. And the Takana Midrabanon that they were Choisem was just so that you should have a raya that she was Megureshes. Says the Reb Chaim, you see beferish from Tosfos that the concept of Mezuyif Mitocho, which applied to a get that had signatures, clearly applies both to a Shtar Kinyan and a Shtar Raya. Why did I just say that? There are two types of shtaros. I could have a shtar that I'm trying to do a kinyan right now, similar to a get. I'm trying to give her her freedom. I'm trying to give you this house, and we're trying to be makneh through the kinyan of shtar. But there's a totally different, completely different shtar, which is what? A shtar raya. A shtar raya means we're not trying to be makneh anything. There's no kinyan that's working, that's now being developed with this shtar. There is just this shtar is acting as a proof that something happened in an appropriate way. According to Tosfos, that's exactly what the chasimos of every get, according to Rebbe Lazar, is. Because every get, after you had the appropriate Eidei Mesira, have a takona midrabanon, that now there should be signatures on it, that the get should be a what? A shtar raya. So if that's the case, says Tosfos, says Reb Chaim, Lefi Tosfos, the concept of mezuyaf mitocho applies what? Both to a shtar kinyan and to a shtar raya. You can't say otherwise in the world of Tosfos. It has to be like that. However, says Reb Chaim, that's not true in the Rambam. The Rambam did not understand that that's the way the get works. According to the Rambam, he learned the Machlokes Reb Meir Reb Lazar as not Eidei Chasima Eidei Mesira, but Af Eidei Mesira Karsi. If that's the case, when you're dealing with things similar to a get, things similar to a shtar kinyan, you have two options. You have Eidei Mesira or you have Eidei Chasima. If that's the case, when the Gemara says Moider Reb Lazar b'mezuyaf mitocho, the Gemara only perhaps said that, said Reb Chaim, according to the Rambam, only by a what? By a shtar kinyan. They never said it by a shtar raya, because the Rambam didn't understand the psul of mezuyaf mitocho by get, like the way Tosfos was forced to understand it. It was only Tosfos that was convinced that Rebbe Lazar Meir was min hakotze lakotze, and there is no Eidei Chasima, that therefore, what is the mode of Rebbe Lazar Mezuyah Mitocho? That the get now becomes what? A regular shtar halva, a regular shtar raya on a loan. We have proof that this woman got divorced. But what created the divorce? That was an Eidei Mesira. The Rambam that never was forced into learning like that, the Rambam that understood the takana to have signatures on a get differently, the Rambam that held Af Eidei Mesira Karsi. So then the Rambam was of the opinion that what? Perhaps the whole concept of Mezuyaf Mitocho never applied to a shtar raya. Says Reb Chaim, that's the answer. You don't have to say what the Kesef Mishnah says. Perhaps the answer to the Rambam is that one is a shtar raya and one is a shtar kinyan. And by a shtar raya, the Gemara never said Moider Reb Lazar Mezuyaf Mitocho. Sanhedrin Chav Chesem Abeis is a shtar matona, is a shtar kinyan. The Gemara in Gittin is a shtar kinyan, is Reb Lazar Reb Meir. Im Kain Rabbi Yisai, they're fundamentally different, and the Rambam never had this din of Mezuyaf Mitocho by a shtar raya, and that's the way the Reb Chaim developed the Rambam. But what Reb Chaim's shtickle Torah is gewaldig is that the whole concept of Mezuyaf Mitocho, where it expands, where it applies to, does it also apply to a shtar raya, or does it only apply to a shtar kinyan, all emanates where? From how you understand Reb Lazar and Reb Meir's original machlokes. How does it work? They're all entangled one in the other. Rabbi Yisai, this is why Rav Soloveitchik held that it's ridiculous to ask the Eidim to stand by the chuppah and watch. I just on Sunday night. Sunday night was the chas. Sunday night. I was an Eid Kedushin under a chuppah. So I asked the Masadi Kedushin, do you want me to stay by the Mesiras HaKsuba? Do you not want me to stay by the Mesiras HaKsuba? The reason why I asked that question is because Rav Soloveitchik held it was ridiculous to stand by the Mesiras HaKsuba. Because Eidei Mesira Karsi is by Karsi, is by a shtar kinyan. is by a shtar hakno. And therefore, Soloveitchik said, go home. Let the Eidim leave. Aksuba's a shtar raya. Aksuba's Eidim that signed already. And now so he's passing it over to the girl. There's nothing happening there. So she now is carrying the raya. Instead of him carrying the raya, she now has the raya. I don't have to witness that. So said Rav Soloveitchik, said Rav Chaim, there is no machlokes Rav Elazar Rav Meir when it comes to a shtar raya. It's only by a get, by a shtar kinyan, by something that's happening, that's karsi right now, that's shafing right now. But by a shtar raya, you're passing over the ksuba under the chuppah, there is no necessity to have Eidim Mesira. Everyone would hold that the chasima is what counts. Okay, we're way over.